It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
Welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome into Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 94 today. Really glad that you are here. We've missed you all week. You are back, we are back, ready to enjoy the hour clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. If you can join in and be clothes-free while listening, so much the better. But if you're at work or at the post office, at a church function, grocery store, maybe you better not participate that way. Just keep your headphones on and enjoy the show. But keep your clothes on. But if you can be clothes-free, so much the better. But in either case, come on in. The water is absolutely terrific in the pool. The hot tub is fired up. The grill is going full bore. Fruits and vegetables off to the right. Cold drinks off to the left. Hot drinks inside. That would be coffee and tea and espresso, because one of our listeners donated an espresso machine. And we also have a cigar bar in the back left corner of the pool. We are ready to go. Plenty of extra towels, suntan lotion. It's just your job to get here and enjoy the sun and the breeze and all that life has to offer when you're living clothes-free for all of the right reasons. As a quick reminder, obviously our 100th show will be coming up fairly soon. It's planned for May 24th if everything sticks to our schedule. If you'd like to be a part of that 100th show celebration, you can do so. Send in an audio clip about a minute long or so. What has the show meant to you? What do you enjoy about the show? Where are you when you listen to the show? And so on and so forth. Send it in. You can record it on your smartphone, your iPhone. Send us the file. We'll include it in the show. And it's only 6 weeks away from today. How about that? Well, on today's show, Lisa Monroe is right now. I see her outside the glass. She is walking in. We'll get going with her segment in just a few moments. And then we will have part 2 with Justin and NIKKI from Nude Lease On Life. What a terrific couple. They are out there. They are on fire for naturism, nudism, clothes-free living, and they are promoting it all over the place. Every chance they get. They're either online or they're going to an event. And so we're looking forward to part 2 of my interview with Justin and NIKKI from Nude Lease On Life. Well, again, you're listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 94. Don't know about you, but I think I hear some music. Yes, I do. It's time for the great, the terrific, the fully clothes-free, fully smiling, our Naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the one-of-a-kind, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free, fully smiling, our Naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
Good morning, Frank. I'm doing fantastic today. How about you?
Not bad at all. Just in the game. I'm not doing the good morning, Lisa. How are you? I gave you the full Monty, so to speak. Lisa Monroe. So now you feel elevated, don't you?
I certainly do. I mean, it makes my day and gets me through the whole next week because of all the adulation that I get.
I need to bring a third person into the show so somebody can introduce me that way. I don't get these accolades or adulation, as you pointed out. I just start the show and say, hey, baby, I'm here. And then Lisa Monroe, like you're just taken better care of than I am.
I think that's only fair, don't you? I mean, seriously. Okay. I thought that was what this was all about. No, okay, never mind.
That's right. See, so you are secretly trying to turn this into the Lisa Monroe show, aren't you? And apparently I'm helping you.
No comment.
Okay. All right. Well, let's slide into it. We had a few things that came out of last week's show we'll get to in a moment. But before we do, let's talk about our Patreon. We try to get that done up front, then we move on to the content. Everybody knows why we have one. And the reason I say this every week is we have new listeners every week. So rather than have them go back in the archives like, what do these fools have a Patreon for? We just tell you. Yeah. We used to give up paid work to do this show for free, not what they teach you in business school. Our attorney and CPA would yell at us at every meeting. So we're asking you to help support the show to meet our expenses. And we thank you very much for doing that. And on every show, we try to thank two people who have recently given to the show as Patreons, PPPs, paying Patreon peeps. And Lisa Monroe, who do we have today?
Our two paying Patreon peeps today are Vlad and James, and we
All
thank
right.
them both very much.
Yes, we certainly do. Thank you, gentlemen, for all of that. And I should say gentlemen and ladies, because I don't know if either man has a lady in his life, but a lot of times that's what it is. The couple signs up, but it's under the man's name. And so we want to thank everybody for signing up and being a Patreon. You can be one too, different levels to help support us. And we give back through Patreon as well. How about merchandise, Lisa Monroe? Still flying off the shelves left and right?
Yeah, I'm really pleased with how the merchandise has been accepted and the orders that are coming in. So it's doing really, really well and lots of great items there. All you need to do is go to Naked Nudist and Naturist.com, look for the NNN shop on the menu, and there you go. And there's a lot of good things for you to look at.
All right. And we do have our Naked Nudist and Naturist coffee mugs here. The coffee tastes really great. But that brings up an important point. On last week's show, you mentioned, I think it was at the end of your segment, and you were going to come back at the end of the show. You said, I'll just have some of Jennifer's coffee. We were running out of time, so I didn't have time to question you on that. But that kind of took me by surprise because Jennifer making coffee, I wasn't aware that that was going on because we have a Keurig machine here. So really nobody makes the coffee. We just put the pod in, hit, whatever button we want, and we go from there. So is Jennifer have a secret coffee pot in the back room that I don't know about?
No comment.
No, this is full confession time. I haven't talked to her about this. I've tried to pull her in, but she doesn't like to come on the air. But one of these days we'll get her on here. So you're it, Lisa Monroe.
Okay.
What's this about Jennifer's coffee? I have to know.
Full confession, Jennifer and I both like very, very strong coffee, and sometimes the Keurigs are not strong enough for us. So there is a little small pot in the back in the storeroom. And occasionally we might make some really nice, dark, rich coffee. Even my favorite, the Cafe Du Monde chicory coffee from Louisiana.
Well, la-di-da. How about that?
So,
I just go to the local grocery store and buy whatever's on sale, and you're over here with some fancy French term from Louisiana.
Yes. Well, it's they're connoisseurs of coffee, and then there are people who drink, coffee.
Well, I hook mine up to an IV, so I don't even drink it anymore. Just get it right to the veins, baby. That's right.
I think that's the best way to do it. Sometimes I need that, but no. It's just every now and then we make a little coffee. And she said, since you're going to be here all day, I'll make a pot. So
wow. Well, I think I'm impressed. I'll have to think about this one a little more. And I don't mind you holding out on me with coffee. But please do not tell me that you've been sneaking brownies to the back room without telling me about it.
No, I have not. And I haven't brought some in a while simply because everybody's on this health kick right now and everyone's trying to not eat the bad things. So, and so I may break that rule next week.
That's true. Everybody kind of kicks into a different gear after New Year's. Like, okay, probably had a little too much at Thanksgiving, the American Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. I think I'll back off a little. Well, we're into April now, and people are still backed off. Not the end of the world, and not a bad thing, right?
Not at all. But every now and then, a little treat is a good thing. We all need that little special treat every now and then. So maybe brownies next week if you're good.
Yeah. Somebody around here mentioned to Jennifer that, you're trying to get your bikini body back for the summer. And she said, I don't actually own a bikini, but let's go with it. So I thought that's a perfect answer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was unaware she didn't own one, but apparently she's never in public at a beach, at a textile beach. So good for her. We do need to get her on the show, though.
Yes, definitely. If you can convince her, she's pretty stubborn.
Well, we might just have to drag her in, and you hold her down while I ask the questions. See how that works.
That's really going to be a good segment. That should be quite interesting.
Also, on last week's show, we were talking about the different countries we're heard in, which is basically everywhere except the one communist country that apparently doesn't allow anything naked in their country. And you mentioned, I forgot the country. It's a country I'd never heard of before, but you said something about The Who is from there, some band named The Who. And I thought The Who was from the UK, Roger Daltrey and, all those guys. And so I didn't want to interrupt you and embarrass you. Say, Lisa, please. The Who is from the UK. So after the show, I just like everybody else, I went on the interwebs, looked it up. The Who is from the UK,
Yes.
but that's not what you meant. So
No.
maybe just explain to our listeners when you said the Who, it's not the WHO band that everybody knows. It's something else, right?
It is something else, and I'm sure you've heard of Mongolia. You just weren't paying any attention to it, but this band is from Mongolia, and they are kind of a folk slash heavy metal band, if you can imagine. It's, I mean, a pretty hefty combination. But I'm not a huge heavy metal fan, never have been. But this group is spectacular. They are incredible musicians. They use a lot of Mongolian instruments native to their area in their music. Plus, then they have the heavy metal drive. So it's quite an impressive group, even if it's not a music genre that you like a lot. So check them out. They're called The Who, HU.
Hey, I've heard of Mongolia.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was some country I hadn't heard of before because we talked about a
Yeah,
lot of
we
those
talked about a lot
last
of
week.
countries we hadn't heard.
Yeah. I'm just trying to picture the band that folk music and heavy metal. Would that be like Peter, Paul, and Mary coming out and singing Puff the Magic Dragon and then breaking guitars on the stage?
Well, something like that. Although they'd have to have that heavy metal drive behind it with all the real heavy noise and stuff. But actually, they're very very talented. And for a group for music that I don't usually enjoy, I really like to hear them. So not on a consistent basis, but they're quite good. So everybody go check out the Who. They're actually pretty popular in the U.S. now.
Oh, see, I was unaware of that.
Mhm.
The Who as in HU.
HU. Hmm.
Okay. A lot of that heavy metal stuff, and this is not a music show. We have to get back to the naked stuff, but there was a band, a lot of the how do I say this nicely? Like the burnouts of society. That probably wasn't very nice, but you know what I mean? Just
Right.
there's a certain element that when Metallica was out in
Hmm.
big, oh yeah, man,
Yeah.
cool. What thought, okay, I'm not going to listen to that stuff at all.
Yeah.
Well, recently in the last few years, somebody I know really well has been bugging me. You got to hear this band. I mean, they're really good.
Hmm.
Metallica? Yes, they're really. Anyway, I listened to them. Musically, they're really good. These guys know how to play their instruments and get around a concert recording session without getting hurt. They're actually really good. So I kind of feel bad that I kind of dissed them years ago, but there are a lot of great musicians out there, irrespective of the genre. Just give them a chance. And I learned the hard way.
Exactly. And I think if anyone who loves music should be able to appreciate all forms of music. And
Yeah.
and I was the same way as you was. I was like, Metallica, no. I mean, heavy metal, no, get in the way from me. All they're doing is screaming and yelling. And then in the last few years, I've also seen, wow, this is pretty good music. And so
Mm-hmm.
you learn to listen to what's happening as opposed to the screaming rock kind of vibe from it. So yeah, it's pretty good. So check out the Who, check out heavy metal. I just prefer jazz, but what can I tell
Yeah.
you?
Well, there was a time I'm thinking back to the 40s, and yes, that is before we were born.
Yes.
And let's be really straight
Yes.
about that.
Years.
But if you read the history books about music and the times, the big band sound, Glenn Miller, Tommy Dorsey, that was where the young people flocked. Like, oh, cool. An
Mhm.
18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old. Hey, honey, you want to go hear Glenn Miller? We can dance the jig, dance a foxtrot. That was considered to be wild stuff at the time. First of all, can you believe that? Like, whoa, Glenn Miller, I'm your father. You're not going anywhere tonight, son. That Glenn Miller's up to no good. So maybe every generation goes through that.
I think every generation probably does because it's a new sound, it's a new thing, and fewer people getting to see those things. And now we all see everything, whether you're 100 or you're 10. So it doesn't matter. So I think there's a little bit more acceptance now for those different things, but back then no. And then wait till the Bobby Soxers came in and Elvis came in and oh
Oh,
heavens. So
not
anyway,
to mention the Beatles. The
yes. Oh,
Beatles, the
so
rest of the 60s and 70s, all the way through Metallica. But now I kind of appreciate what they did. I don't know. Are they still around performing or are they pretty well done? I don't even know.
I no honestly don't know. I think so. A
Yeah.
lot of those rock bands, I look at Bon Jovi. My guy Bon Jovi's, still going strong, still I think just did an album. So I think a lot of those rockers from that era are still out there because there's not a whole lot out there to replace them. So did I say that? But anyway, so I think so. So So yeah, I think anyone who loves music would at least appreciate the Who, the Who. The other Who are
Okay.
good too, but
Yeah. Okay.
so really wish they'd go do that. Go listen to them.
One more thing on music, I
Yeah.
promise. We'll get back to the naked
No problem.
stuff.
I like music too.
You mentioned Bon Jovi. Now he's another one. The really cool, different element than
Hmm.
I'm from. Oh, Bon Jovi, man, he's cool.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm not going to listen to him because this person over there likes him.
Hmm.
I'm not going to listen to him. It's probably bad news. So yeah, give me the jazz, the classical, the whatever. Not going to listen to that nonsense. Now, as you know, I had a career as a professional musician. I mean, I was trained and did it the right way, and a couple of degrees and so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
I know.
Well, I have kids who have gone into music, and one of them plays guitar professionally. And you've heard him play. I've sent you clips, and
Yeah, he's
I mean, he
fabulous.
blows me away. Yeah, he really
Fabulous.
does. And easy for a dad to say, "Oh, my kid is great," except you know what? He's really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
he
not
can do things that
exaggerating.
I can't do.
Not at
No,
all.
he can do things musically that I had never thought of. Like, where did you learn that? He goes, I don't know. It just came to me. So, okay, all right, there's something going on here more powerful than I am. At one time, we were talking. He mentioned Bon Jovi,
Hmm.
and I said, "That guy." I said, "You're really listening to him?" He goes, "Well, yeah." He goes, "You don't listen to him?" And I said, "Bon Jovi's a joke." And he looked at me. He goes, "Dad, are you serious? I can't tell if you're playing with me or not." And I said, "No, I think the guy's a joke. He's Mr. Pretty Boy trying to act all cute on stage." And he said, "You're serious about this?" I said, "Oh yeah." He said, "Dad, he's considered to be one of the best guitarists of all time."
Yes.
And I said, "Now you're playing with me." And he said, "No, I'm serious." Well, he's right. I had
Yes.
missed the boat on that one too.
Yes.
I mean, he's a good looking guy,
Yes.
and the women love him. So I kind
Yes.
of went there, like, oh, he's just Mr. Cutesy, like so many people are.
Yeah.
But the guy can actually play, and he is considered one of the best of all time.
And one of my favorites by far. And still, I think he's even now probably even better than he was when he was younger because
Yeah.
there's I don't know, a seasoning about how he performs. And I still watch him, still like him. Yes, he's cute, but he's also good.
It's true. Also, wanted to mention last week, you did not dash out of here when our segment was over. You stayed for the whole show, and a lot of people like that. They like the idea of you still being here and still talking at the end. Can you do it today?
I sure can. I've been traveling a lot, so that's why I haven't been around a lot. I'm just
Yep.
super busy. So, that's kind of calmed down. So I'm around more. So, I'll be happy to stay.
Okay. This month, the month of April, the American Association for Nude Recreation is going to talk more about celebrating home nudists. A lot of home nudists out there, as you and I discovered just by doing this show. We sort of suspected it, but you can't prove it. You just can't barge into people's homes and say, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I thought so.
you're naked.
Yeah, that's right. You have to wait for people to tell you or share it. And tons of people have. They're always nude in the home, never nude socially, other than outside of their marriage partner or
Hmm.
whatever they have in their lives. So there's a lot of that going on. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that's the focus for the month of April. We'll do more on that in either next week or the week after when we get more information, if that sounds okay to you.
This sounds wonderful. And we have learned that I would say the bulk of people who consider themselves naturists are home naturists. And a lot of those people who are naked at home don't realize they are naturists. So they just know that they enjoy it and they love it. And this is where they have the opportunity to do it. So I think this is a great thing to celebrate.
All right. We are looking at bringing up a topic down the road. We got an email from a listener
Mhm.
about autism, and you seem to have more information, more knowledge than I do about this. There's something about having the clothes on, the tactile feeling. They don't feel great about it, but when they get their clothes off, and this is not a generic statement on anybody with autism, it's just some people, they feel much better without their clothes. What do you know about
Well,
that?
yeah, I'm certainly not an expert in any way, but I had a friend who's had a child who was autistic, and that child had a tactile issue with certain types of fabric. So they couldn't, there were certain things that they couldn't stand on their skin, and there were times in when they just couldn't stand anything on their skin. And it's a very, it's something that's just a sensory issue for them. And so they would, take their clothes off and wear only maybe what they were comfortable with, if anything. And so I think this is what this gentleman was talking about, was that he has that same issue. And so with clothes on, he's very uncomfortable. It's very aggravating and for him. So he finds out he being a naturist, taking his clothes off is a way that he can enjoy himself a whole lot more. So there's an even bigger level to this gentleman and naturism than most of us have. But I think that there probably are some people. I'm allergic to the dye wool, so I couldn't put a piece of wool against my skin. So I can understand that issue. So I think this is something that maybe there are some people who are dealing with.
Well, we'll look at that down the road and explore with this one particular gentleman a little more and get some more information on that. I've dealt with a number of people who
Mhm.
have autism, but I've just
Mhm.
not dealt with this particular situation. So we'll delve into it. Maybe it just comes down to being clothes free solves everything, or at least makes everything a
Well, I
lot
think
better.
it
What do you
does
think?
because it strips away not only what in our head about things, but also other things about our bodies. Something too tight might be uncomfortable. Wearing pantyhose might be uncomfortable. There's just a lot of things that naturism, being naked, takes away from us and gives us more. There's a freedom and a comfort level, I think, to everything, as long as it's warm. For me, as long as it's warm.
And just like my confession of a few shows ago, I said I've never
Yes.
worn a bra. I've never worn pantyhose either. I just thought I better put that out there.
You guys have had it made all these years. That's all I've got to tell you. No bras, no pantyhose, no 4-inch
And
heels.
no complaints. I
Goodness.
am not complaining at all. So
Good.
maybe women should step up and say, what am I wearing a bra and pantyhose for? Enough of this nonsense, and off they go in the trash. What about that?
That sounds like a wonderful idea. And most of the time, I don't wear pantyhose anymore. It's too hot down
Yeah,
here.
yeah, that's for sure. All right, Lisa Monroe, we had an email we wanted to get to from a listener. We will save that for next time. Is that okay
Okay.
if we do that?
That sounds good.
All right, very good. And you will stick around for part 2 of the interview with Justin and Nikki, and then we'll talk a little bit after that. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
All right. Normally I say have a great clothes free week, but like I said last week, thank you, Lisa Monroe. Go out there and have a great clothes free half hour, and I'll see you in just a little bit.
Yes, sir. I'll be right here.
Okay. The very terrific Lisa Monroe. She does it all around here, and we will hear from her again before today's show is over. How about that? Just a reminder, we are the official podcast for the American Association for Nude Recreation. Are you a member? If so, that is terrific news. But if not, you can become one today in just a few moments. Go to AANR.com, follow the navigation. And just like I am and just like Lisa Monroe is, you will be a member of AANR within moments. What a good deal today. Well, we hope that you are enjoying this hour. Hope you're enjoying it clothes free. It's our weekly get together with you. Hope you're having a great hour and enjoying the day today. And you are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 94. And now let's get to part 2 of my interview with Justin and Nikki from Nude Lease On Life. We are talking to Justin and Nikki this morning. They are from NudeLeaseOnLife.com. And Justin or Nikki, if people want to get a hold of you, obviously they can go to your website and contact you there. Any other places where you don't mind being contacted?
Sure. Yeah. As you mentioned, the website's probably the easiest. There's a contact form on there that generates an email. It goes to hello@nudeleaseonlife.com. So if you prefer to send a direct email, you can send it there. And social media, as we mentioned, we're thankfully still at Nude Lease on Life everywhere that you consume social media. So yeah.
And I'm guessing you're willing to get back to people if they write in and say, hey, tell me more about this naturism thing. Is it really for me? You'd be willing to get back to them and guide them along or give them some help, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We certainly reply to every inquiry we get through the site or email or social media. I'll use this as a soapbox moment to say to those well-intentioned people out there that want to reach out to us or anybody. And we do get inundated with a lot of direct messages on social media platforms from people that do not have good intentions.
Yeah.
They often just start with a hey or a hi. And 7 years ago, I was dumb enough to respond to all of those, and then it realized that wasn't going anywhere good. So unfortunately,
Did you see what this guy just said?
I may have missed some good conversations by neglecting to respond to some well-intentioned hays and highs over the years. But I put out a couple of sentences there that shows the other person that you are serious about this. You're curious. It's totally fine if you've never done it. You have questions. You're new. But I think a lot of us get things that turn south pretty quick, that just start without any context, and unfortunately, those have become the messages that we don't respond to. But give us a little context. We're always happy to.
Yeah. Well, you had mentioned Nick and Lynn's earlier. I've never met them. We've not had them on the show or anything, but I heard them on another show. It's been a few years, and uh, Lynn's, a lot of the messages they would get were to her, hey baby, can you send me a picture of this, that, or the other thing? To the point it was just disgusting. And
Yeah.
the host asked her, well, what does that do to you? She goes, I really don't care. We just ignore them and we move on. I don't have time to worry about that stuff. Probably the best attitude, but the best way would, these knuckleheads, quit writing to naturists and say, hey baby, send me whatever. You
Yeah.
probably get that a lot too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and same sort of thing. We're never offended by it, but we just don't engage with it, and and move on. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, that's really the best way, because as soon as you write back and say something like, "Hey, pal, don't write these anymore," well, they're going to write 10 more,
Yeah.
and then you're off to
Don't
the
take the
races.
bait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a game you never win. It just keeps going on until somebody quits. Well, I quit early. Sounds like you do too. You win. Enjoy your day.
Worth
Let's
it.
move along. On that uh, uh, boat cruise you took, is that what it's called? The big nude boat cruise?
Yes, big new boat. Yep.
Okay. You had posted at least one photo, maybe several, of yourselves with another couple. They are called the Just Married Band, I think, and they actually perform in the nude and perform at nudist resorts. Is that right?
Yeah, that's Celine and Jeremy. They are absolutely awesome people.
Yeah, we had the good fortune of meeting them for the first time in person last year on the Big Nude Boat, and we were happy to learn at that time that they were invited back and they were going to be on this cruise again. So we were, they're normally located in France, and they're doing things on far away from our neck of the woods. So we don't typically get to see them unless they're in the States for something like this. We were aware of them through Nick and Lynn's for years, and we kind of connected and followed each other on social media. But that was the first time we met, and then like we said, we kept in touch after last year's cruise. Saw them again this year, and as Nikki said, they are just both
They're awesome.
wonderful people and so very talented. If you have an opportunity to see them in person perform either on a nude cruise overseas, or they usually do try to do some U.S. Shows. They had some planned at Sunsport in Lake Como just in the past couple weeks, I would imagine. And then they were going to move on to Louisiana. I know they wanted to see New Orleans and kind of get more involved in the history of music culture here in the States. And they have a performance scheduled that in at Indian Hills as well. As we're by the time this airs, that will have passed. But as we're talking through this
Okay.
now, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I asked is, I've mentioned this on the show before. My background is music. I mean, that's what I went to college for. That's what I did professionally for a number of years. And then eventually it became like a side gig because the main gig paid a lot more. It's just funny how that works in the artistic world.
Sure.
And I had a chance to join this band. I think I was 21 or 22. It was a naked band. And we were going to perform nude all the time. And it never came to fruition. I think we had one or two rehearsals and it went well. And the guy managing it or promoting it, I don't know what happened. I wasn't the leader of the band. I was just told, we're not doing this anymore. Okay. So we move on. And there's a part of me that kind of misses that. Like, I think that would have been great, especially if you're at a nudist resort, not just up there like a bunch of naked clowns while the audience is closed, making fun of you. That would have been no fun. But I'm guessing they have a blast doing that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I know they do perform, clothed in certain areas when they need to as well, obviously to pay the bills and
That's right.
whatnot. But but yeah, they have a great time. They draw a wonderful crowd,
For sure.
and yeah, it's a lot of fun. And you know, you have the unique opportunity of them performing nude, because I think I would say, in my experience, the majority of musical acts that will perform at a naturist resort are going to be clothed still, the performers. So this is a unique opportunity for them. And then you've got all of the people dancing nude and whatever. So it's just it's a great time. The energy kind of, I think, feeds off of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we'll look them up and try to get them on the show as well, because they're doing things that I enjoy doing, playing music and being clothes free, and they get to do both at the same
Yeah,
time
absolutely. Yeah.
with regularity. That's very good to hear. Any plans to go on another cruise down the road? They have, was it one a year? Is that what they do?
Yeah, they do. They do one big nude boat each year, usually in February, departing out of a port in Florida typically. And yeah, we're hopeful that we'll be on the big nude boat again next year, in 2026. It's the same boat, the Norwegian Pearl, as this year. Same length, 11 days, but a very different itinerary, and those ports are ports we haven't been to yet. So we're excited about that, and seeing some folks again, and hopefully Celine and Jeremy will be on that cruise, performing again, and we'll see them again.
Yeah. Yeah.
There.
Very good.
Yeah, and Bare Necessities, I should add, does have other charters that they do. I think they're doing, I want to say it's the Scenic Eclipse 2 in Australia, which is just, it seems like an amazing trip and a wonderful boat. And they do some other Mediterranean and European cruises over the years. We've never been on one of those, but those seem like bucket list trips. Some of the smaller luxury boats, going through some really, really amazing places.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I'm talking to Justin and Nikki this morning from NudeLeaseOnLife.com. And before we leave the whole Florida thing, the haul over beach thing, the big nude boat cruise thing, you had mentioned before we started recording that either before or after the cruise, you stayed at a particular place and you wanted to give a shout out to them because it sounds like a terrific place. So go right ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were at Secret Garden Tiki in Hollywood, Florida, which is owned and operated by Joni, who is also somebody who we've been mutual followers of for some years, but we met for the first time in person on cruise last year, and we said, oh, the 2025 cruise is leaving out of Miami. This is perfect, and we somehow managed to be, like the first people to book. We felt lucky and fortunate to have that opportunity to stay with her, and it was perfect because, like I mentioned, we were in the Miami area for the 2 nights before the cruise. We were able to attend the beaches meetup at Hall over the day before. And for those that don't know, Secret Garden Tiki, like I said, it's in Hollywood. It's probably about 15 minutes away by car from Hall over. Great to get to and from, Fort Lauderdale or Miami airports. If you're going on a cruise, whatever it is, if you're just going to visit all over, really would highly recommend it. Joni does such a wonderful job. We at the time put a quick little video up because the place really transforms into something magical at night. Especially, there's so many lights and candles and details and decor that she's
You can
put
tell
into
she's
it.
really put a lot of hard work into making it beautiful, and
Yeah.
it's a space you walk into and you do not realize where you're at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like you're in a Miami area at all.
Yeah,
It
it
feels like
really.
you're transported to some magical tropical place.
Oh,
Absolutely, yeah. So she does a wonderful job with it. It was great to actually finally stay there. We've actually seen photos and videos over the years. Nick and Lynn stayed there and did a great YouTube video on it. Um, like I mentioned, we posted ours. I do want to. I'll be writing up a full review and posting more photos and things like that on our website, on our travel experiences page, in the coming weeks also. Um, and Just Married Band performed there in the past,
oh,
for a concert. We couldn't make it down for that one. So all of these things are kind of coming together, but it's really a wonderful space. It has a heated pool in the 90s. I
Yeah, I think
forget
she
how
was
warm it
92.
is, 92.
wow.
Uh,
That's very warm for us New York people. That's a bathtub, but it was awesome.
yeah,
So is that a private home or it's a resort? Or
yeah. Yeah, so essentially, she's converted her home, the what would you would consider the backyard of the home, but it's all, fenced with tall fences as you would see at a nudist resort or something like that for privacy. So the backyard, for lack of a better description, turns into this, place where you have the pool, you have an actual tiki hut as like a common area where there's, fridge, microwave, and place for people to gather, tables and couches. Um, and there's essentially two bedrooms. There's one smaller bedroom inside of the tiki hut that's still private. Obviously, there's a door to get into that if someone's staying in there. And then there's a larger like an open air canopy type bed that you would see. It's a king bed. It's beautiful. That's where we
It was
slept.
extremely comfortable.
Yeah, and that has like the netting for mosquitoes, and then it has like privacy curtains or go around it too as well. And then yeah, there's a space to kind of store your belongings inside, indoors, so
Yeah,
that
like
if
a
it rains
dressing
or
room
whatever.
to
Yeah,
change or get ready,
yeah.
makeup.
And then there's an amazing outdoor shower where Joni's prepared every possible product and item you might want to pamper
Yeah,
yourself with.
but it's all, tropical plant leaves surrounded
Yeah.
by a bamboo enclosure type
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like being in a rainforest taking a shower.
And there's
Wow.
even a cleverly done outdoor toilet that's on the far end of the property, so you have enough privacy if you need to use it. But the roof overhang from the house overhangs it, so again, if it was raining or something, you're experiencing being outdoors, but you're not getting rained on. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you did the right thing. You got your reservations in early. Otherwise, you would have been closed out, right?
yeah, probably, certainly, at least for the weekends abutting the cruise out of Miami. I'm sure that's a popular time for it. But I know there's people coming and going all the time, and
And she is so close to haul over
yeah.
too. So, if it's 10, 15 minutes to haul over, you can add that in, make it a trip in itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Very well said. Well, what's I know you don't live in Pennsylvania anymore, Nikki. That's where you were born and raised. What's the naturism thing like in Pennsylvania? I'm guessing not really very good, because it's not very
There
good anywhere.
are some resorts, and oddly enough, Justin probably knows more about them than I do.
Okay.
Um, I really wasn't doing anything like that whenever I was in Pennsylvania because I've
Right.
been in New York for about 20 years.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I didn't really do anything.
yeah, I mean, I can speak to that somewhat, I guess, and I'll say, just to jump back to Secret Garden Tiki for one sec. Like I mentioned, we'll be posting up a full travel experience on our website. But if anybody is interested, best way to check them out is at Secret Garden Tiki on Instagram. You can see their videos and photos. You can send a message to Joni directly if you were interested in staying there, and I'm sure she'd appreciate having more genuine nudists and naturists frequenting the property. Jumping back to colder climates.
Yeah, I know Pittsburgh has a good naturist community.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
very
that's
good.
true. And we haven't been to one of those events yet
Mm.
with the Pittsburgh area naturists, but there's a non-landed club there. We've met some of the people. They do
Mhm.
a lot of great things in the city. And then there's Whitethorn Lodge outside on the Pennsylvania Ohio border on the west side that does the
Okay.
Super Bowl, the volleyball Super Bowl each year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
I've heard of that.
we
Yeah.
did go there. We did stop
yeah,
by
we've
there.
we've been there a few times. We've been to one Super Bowl, unfortunately. Work travel time usually doesn't line up with availability for me around the weekend that they have that in September. Um, and then I'm sure there's other places we haven't been, but as far as the ones that we have or that we're planning to get to, PSHS in kind of more central Pennsylvania. Um, is a place that we frequented a handful of times.
Yeah,
We,
and it's the home of the Moon Groove Festival.
yeah, Moon Groove.
Oh.
We've happy to elaborate on that. We've been 3 times. We just booked our tickets yesterday to go again this year, this July, for a fourth
Mhm.
time. Um, and there, like I said, there are other places. Sunny Rest, kind of in the Poconos area. We have not been to yet, but we've met Halsey on both of these big nude boats. Um, and we intend to get there. We'd love to get there.
All right. Now, what about New York? Is it a little more open or not necessarily?
Where we're at is probably less.
Yeah, unfortunately, New York, uh, in terms of by chance or otherwise, resorts and beaches in New York State, either on Long Island or upstate, uh, history has not been good too. Unfortunately, we lost pretty much all of our beaches over a decade ago after
Wow.
Hurricane Sandy. They used that as an excuse to close those down. And even resorts, Juniper Woods was our closest resort a few years ago, but unfortunately that was sold to a textile campground. So not as much, unfortunately. There's Full Tan Sun Club and Empire Haven upstate, but
Yeah.
those are actually further for us to get to,
Yeah.
unfortunately, than resorts in neighboring states.
As far as Long Island, we have absolutely nothing. We lost any beaches, so that's why, we don't always get to do things. We have to travel for it. And New York even has topless equality, but you do not see it
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. When I was there, I spent quite a bit of time there, literally 10 years ago. It was 2015. And I was right around the corner from Central Park. And of course, I was free every day from about 2 or 3 in the afternoon on. I had things to do at Columbia University in the morning, 2 or 3 after that, wide open. And I was looking for naturist opportunities. And I found one, topless yoga in the park, in Central Park. And so I wrote, where's this at? Can I join in? And obviously, my name popped up with the email, and they said, well, if you're a man, you can't come unless you bring a woman with you. And I thought, okay, so I just got to find a woman and I can get in. They said, yeah, but we do police this pretty carefully because a lot of guys try to sneak in,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't even tell me where it was. Not that I wanted to know. I wanted to know if I could be in it. But if
Yeah.
I couldn't be in it, I don't want to know. But they would have it in a secret place every week, every Saturday morning in a different place, and only the people going would know, so you don't get a lot of knuckleheads showing up and watching it.
Sure.
So I knew that was going on, and then they had body painting in the street right in Times Square. Professionals would paint the bodies, and non-professionals like us, and we could watch. And I thought, well, that's just kind of a clown show. It's kind of a making a joke out of naturism at that point. And they were topless. So women can be top free in all of New York, or just the city itself, or what?
Yeah, it's all of the state. Thanks to a Supreme Court ruling from the early 90s.
Okay.
But like Nikki said, we don't see it a lot. You see it in demonstrations. You see it in Central
Protest,
Park.
yes.
And you'll see it maybe on some of the former nude beaches, like Lighthouse Beach is probably the closest to us. That used to be a popular nude beach before our time. We weren't practicing naturists back
Yeah.
then.
You
But
don't see
you'll
it on
there.
other beaches, though.
No,
as,
yeah, even though it's legal.
And I think it's almost kind of like, you don't see anyone do it, and there's people that would do it, but nobody else is doing it, so nobody does it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just takes 1 or 2 to kick it off, and then suddenly you got a few hundred, right?
Yeah, and to speak to some of the things you were saying, there's no really landed clubs or beaches in the greater New York area. You're probably going into New Jersey or Pennsylvania or whatnot. And as far as metro area, but we have connected with a couple of groups. You mentioned body painting, the Human Connection Arts, and Andy Golub actually came out to Skinny Dip Day last year in New Jersey and did some they donated their time and materials to paint people on the nude beach for charity. And so that was cool. And they do some events in and around the Catskills and Brooklyn and that area. Mostly with like an artistic approach to it, and then decent exposure. Some friends of ours organize game nights and trivia and maybe some yoga, some things like that you can kind of get away with doing in a rented private space in and around the city and boroughs.
You can find some naked comedy shows. We haven't attended one yet, but they do
Oh
have
yeah.
those from time to time.
Yeah, that, and I actually have to see if those are still going. I know they had a change of venue, that maybe the nudity wasn't gonna, because and this has been a challenge of ours also, trying to connect with private venues that are willing to host a nude or clothing optional event. But New York liquor license laws, basically, my limited understanding of it says that if you have a liquor license for the business, you can't really have nudity, even if drinks aren't being served during the event, even if there's appropriate protocols in place. So that makes it difficult for certain bars, restaurants, comedy clubs to host. So there was like Nikki mentioned, a naked comedy show in Brooklyn that was running monthly for a while. I have to check in on that, because I remember seeing a few months ago, oh, venues are changing, and the comic, I think, could be nude still, but the audience couldn't. And at the prior
Okay.
venue, you were able to actually have a nude audience, so that was pretty unique and fun.
Okay. Well, that's how they got around that whole nudity thing in different states. I don't know if New York. It sounds like they might have done the same thing. Nude bars would pop up where dancers would get on stage. They'd be totally nude, and of course, that's not naturism. That's just
Right.
being naked, up on stage. And they shut that down under the guise of the liquor law. A liquor license. If you have a liquor license, you cannot have full nudity. So it wasn't the state saying no nudity allowed. It was those guys over there, the liquor commission.
Yeah,
Sorry, if it were up to us, of course we'd have naked people all the time. But the liquor commission, and so it's a sneaky way around it.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
but again, that's not naturism. That's just nudity and being naked on stage, trying to make some money. Totally, like basically the antithesis of naturism.
yeah.
If you're going to be naked, let's do it for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons. Is that what New York did? Basically, left
I
it to the
I
liquor
assume
control
so,
commission.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I understand why, but unfortunately, the collateral damage of that is, a well-intentioned groups that want to put together a naturist dinner, or
yeah,
some sort of event, and you don't really have the space to do that unless you can really find someone willing to lend their own private space, or something like that, or there were some swims being done at gyms and things like that in the past that. Um, we haven't seen on Long Island in a number of years. I know they were doing upstate for some time, but there's always, unfortunately, a challenge there. There's the stigma, then there's some of these laws, and then there's people who don't understand, who just are concerned about it. But to jump back to Pittsburgh, yeah, they seem to. We'd love to join them, because they seem to be doing really well with
yeah.
that sort of environment. Oh, let's go on a nude museum tour. Let's go and nude bowling. Let's do, so they have different vendors and venues that they seem to be able to work with, to host some nice events.
Good. Some possibilities then. Before we go, a few other things I wanted to hit on with you. We're talking to Justin and Nikki from Nude Lease On Life. It's nudeleaseonlife.com when you visit. You had mentioned a skinny dip day and something about the Moon Groove or Moon Groove Festival. What are those events all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So those are items that we've been participating in for a number of years now. They both happen to be in July, and they're two of the larger events that we have up here in the Northeast each year. Skinny Dip Day is, as you and the listeners probably know, the second Saturday of July. That was coined many years ago.
Mhm.
And a lot happens globally and nationally on that day. There's coordinated skinny dips and Guinness World Record attempts and things happening. But our friend Thomas started skinnydipday.org, associated with the event a number of years ago, and he lives in New Jersey, and Gunnison Beach has kind of become our de facto home base for that. But that has branched out to incorporate satellite events at other beaches and resorts throughout the world over the years, and so we've been participating with him each year. And we're looking forward to doing that again. So we'll I don't have the calendar in front of me, but the second Saturday in July, we'll be at Gunnison again. and that's a great event that's near and dear, because it's always fun to get together with people, and you play some volleyball or cornhole and you have a good time. But
Yeah.
it's also really for a great cause. It goes it's a fundraiser in essence for the Fistula Foundation, which Thomas is very passionate about. He can speak to better than I can. Or you can check out skinnytoday.org for some resources and things that'll be coming up for this year's event. But it's a great, very effective tragedy that heals women's childbirth injuries, and kind of restores confidence to women in third world countries and things like that. So
Okay.
that has some it's somewhat synonymous with naturism in many ways. And it just turns out to be a great time, a great celebration, and for a great cause each year. So we're always happy to support that. And then Moon Groove happens to be the weekend after this year. It doesn't always fall that way, but it's usually a weekend in late July. So sometimes it does. And that's at PSHS, and it's hosted by the Tikis, if you will, the volleyball crew, Eli and friends who we've gotten to know over the years. Both actually on the Big Nude Boat. Many of them have been on it, as well as at prior Moon Groove and PSHS events. So I think this is the fifth Moon Groove Festival, and we missed the very first one, but we've been to the last 3 years in a row. So this will be 4 years in a row for us, and it's getting better and better every year. They do an amazing job. They really program a full weekend of music and art, and they have legitimate vendors and musicians and artists and
Food.
yeah,
Stuff.
food, and I don't know of anything like it in the Northeast in terms of a naturist festival of that kind. It really is a top quality, great experience. They have plenty of camping. They have RV. They have some motel and cabins to rent, so you kind of can just immerse yourself in the property
Yeah.
for the weekend and just enjoy this great schedule of music. They have tunes, light tunes by the pool in the mornings and early
They have several
afternoons.
stages and it'll switch back and forth.
Yeah, they have a main
Okay.
main stage in the camping area or on the lawns, where like the main artists are at in the afternoons and evenings. They have an EDM, kind of like a disco type stage indoors in one of the rec hall rooms that
Yeah, and they have the pool stage that they
yeah, pool stage. They converted the tennis court into the cage. They do a they
like
do a
yeah.
stage there with light shows and smoke and whatever. And so I mean, it's really a great event. Even if you weren't a naturist or going for like it's a great music and
In
arts festival
itself.
in and of itself. But then the added fact that it's at a nudist resort, and that it's clothing optional is great. And I think it's a great kind of gateway event to invite somebody to or bring somebody into naturism, because it's not just, oh, let's just go sit at the beach or let's go to this resort, which might seem daunting. It's for
Right.
this purpose. A skinny dip day is as well, for that
Mhm.
matter, where
Yeah.
it's always nice to have something that someone can relate to outside of it. And oh, by the way, people won't
Yeah.
have clothes on, but
That's
uh
right. You come for the music, but you stay for the naturism, right?
Right?
absolutely.
It's been great to talk to you two. And before we let you go, Justin and Nikki from Nude Lease On Life, on your merchandise page, you have just about every possible style of hat in the world that could ever be created. And every one of them says, I'd rather be naked. You have tote bags, coffee mugs, and a whole bunch of other things, t shirts, obviously. And I think you told me last time you even sell hoodies. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So there is our website. There's a shop button on there. If you're on there, nudeleaseonlife.com/shop will take you right there. And it started with us wanting to create these items for ourselves, as we talked about,
Sure.
conversation starters and things like that. And started, I think, with the I'd rather be naked hat. I was getting a lot of comments on that, and I thought, okay, well, other people maybe want to buy this too. So, it's not an endeavor that we've set crazy prices where we're making profits on. It's really
Right.
just mostly covering costs, getting the word out, making it accessible to other people. So yeah, as you mentioned, there's a lot of different varieties of the I'd rather be naked hat and beanie and bucket hats and visors, and I have I have sun
It's a
hats.
little excessive.
I have sun hats that have become popular as of late, and I actually hopefully by the time this airs, those will be on the website. They're not yet because I had to get custom ordered through a local embroiderer, probably because my head is so abnormally large that normal one size fits all hat doesn't
Yeah.
generally fit me comfortably. So I had an order of those made, and those have gotten good reception lately.
And we have new design ideas as
Yeah,
well that
yeah,
we're working on. So
absolutely. So we'll
we may
hopefully
see
have
some new stuff.
yeah, there's a lot of this stuff is print on demand through the website through a third party. There's beach towels, there's some fanny packs like you mentioned, there's all sorts of apparel and hats.
Yeah.
The only thing we're shipping out ourselves right now is the I'd rather be naked wristbands.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, that's a staple that even when I don't and can't wear the hat, I have one of these on at all times. And
That's right.
those have gotten a lot of reception. They're actually available on Etsy also, just because they're something that we manually ship out ourselves, and we put it on there. And some people have been stumbling along our site on Etsy, so we'll send some wristbands, and we're always happy to give them out for free when we meet people. It's kind of become a little fun promo item for us. Hey, if we've gotten naked together, here's a wristband to remember it by and to tell your friends. But like I said, for folks who either geographically or whatever our paths haven't crossed, they're on the website as well for a couple bucks. And like Nikki said, we're working on some new brand new designs, because historically we've always had I'd rather be naked, or our logo, or there's some say no to tan lines items that we've put up there. But we're working on a few new totally new designs that we're going to put up for people to be able to purchase this year.
All right. Well done. You two are certainly tremendous ambassadors for naturism, nudism, clothes-free living for all the right reasons. Always great to talk to you. Let's just keep this going. Let's have you on again down the road when you're ready to go. And we've been talking to Justin and Nikki from Nude Lease On Life. You can find them, nudeleaseonlife.com. And I'll start with Justin. Justin, go out there and have a great clothes-free day, sir. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you so much, Frank. We really enjoyed being here. And let me just say thank you for continuing to do this. I know it's not easy to run a podcast churning out episodes as frequently as you guys do. So we really appreciate what you're doing for the community as well.
Well, thank you. We enjoy what we're doing, obviously. We wouldn't do it if we didn't enjoy it, kind of like you. Appreciate the kind words. And Nikki, same thing to you. Thank you for today, and go out there and have a great clothes-free day. We'll talk again soon.
You as well. Thank you so much.
All right, you bet. Justin and Nikki, Nude Lease On Life. Have a great day, guys. We'll talk again soon. The very terrific Justin and Nikki from Nude Lease On Life. You can find them at nudeleaseonlife.com. They are on fire for naturism as well, and they are highly respected around here. And we thank Justin and Nikki for all of their time on these last two shows. And on the next two shows, which will be episodes 95 and 96, we will speak to Josh from the Australian Naturist Federation. And before we permanently head for the hills this week, let's bring back Lisa Monroe. Lisa Monroe, your thoughts on Justin and Nikki once again on Nude Lease On Life.
Well, I feel the same way this time as I did last week. They are an enthusiastic couple. They have a tremendous amount of energy, and they love being naturists, and that shows. And so that was a very, very interesting discussion with them. So, but I'd love to hear from them again sometime.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll have them on again down the road. There was a show in the United States, one of those late night shows. The host, I believe, was from Scotland, Craig Ferguson. Remember his show?
Yes, I do. Loved him.
A lot of times at the end of his show, they go to a commercial and then he'd come back and say, so what have we learned today? And then there'd be some silly, nonsensical stuff.
Yes.
So I kind of get the feeling that's what we're doing now. We're talking about what we learned today. We learned Justin and Nikki are terrific, and they do great work. How about that?
It's certainly so. And those are good things to learn, because it keeps everybody else understanding that this is a good thing and that it validates how you feel about it. So, for those home nudists or for the social nudists, it doesn't matter. So good
That's
thing.
right. And be here next week. We have Josh from the Australian Naturist Federation, and we're going to talk all about Australia and how naturism, nudism is playing down there. And they have some issues as well, like we do here in the USA, but they're also doing a lot of great stuff. So you'll be here next week, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Lisa Monroe, go out there and have a great clothes-free week. We'll see you next time.
All right, you too, and everybody have a good week as well.
Sounds good. Well, you've been listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 94 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.